Well, as she said, my name is Adam Ravetch. I've been working in the Arctic for 20 years. I've been mostly doing nonfiction filmmaking, but I love fiction. I grew up in Los Angeles, and my aunt and uncle were screenwriters, so I was very inspired by the narrative construct, and I've tried to include that in my films. The one thing they did tell me, though, is I started as a still photographer, and then I moved over to cinematography, and they said if you ever get into motion pictures, it's called movies, and you better move people. The point of movies is to create emotion. In the beginning, I was trained as an underwater cinematographer, and the people that came before me was really pushing my generation in wildlife films to really go out and add to the natural history archive. So it wasn't to go out and take pretty pictures, but it was actually to find brand new documents in new regions. And at the end of my training, I went ice diving, and that's what led me to the Arctic and to this animal. This is the saber-toothed tiger of the north. It's the walrus. And when I first went to the Arctic to try to find subject matter, the Eskimos told me if I was in the water and this animal popped up that I should get out. I went back home and I found out there were no films on walruses. So immediately that was my focus. I had a subject, walrus, but I didn't know really what I was going to do. This really, as I told you, I began with diving. That's how I really got into the film industry. I was a scuba diver. I didn't care about photography. All I cared about was getting really close to wild animals. And what happens when you get close to a wild animal is you're forced to have a connection. Nonetheless, it inspired me to want to, when I did get into film, to try to replicate these experiences to deliver an emotion. Filmmaking is all about telling stories, so I wanted to use, I would come back with my images, and my aunt and uncle would tell me, like, okay, great, you take shots of animals. Aren't you interested in the human experience? And I went back to my animals, but what I did listen to them about was I was trying to use those metaphors, those themes that could make connections to people. And so it wasn't just about wildlife and the information of wildlife. Again, I wanted to do that through emotions and through interesting subject matter, but I still wanted to reveal brand new documents. So it was a very tall order to tell a good story, but to tell a story with brand new things that people haven't seen before. So I'm sitting there, on a stakeout, and I'm sitting there for 6 weeks, and the bears tried to come to us at the cabin, and you're sitting there, and what you're really doing is you want the bear to go and kill an animal. And if you can get that, you're like, yes! I know, it's kind of sick, right? It's weird. It's like, that's your juice. That's going to get you your next job. And so it's a little strange. I feel, it's the natural world. So we're trying to capture the natural world. And very, very rarely has there been a situation that you could even stop something like that from happening. And I usually don't get into the sadness of that or try to stop something from happening. And I don't think you'd be able to. When a bear is focused, he's going for it. It'd be hard to stop it.